what's going on, everybody? Frank Valkyria, welcome to the channel. Let's talk about Joe revealing he has the virus. Let's go. Let's listen to him and then we talk.
Friends, so I got
Hello,
back
friends.
from the road Saturday night, feeling very weary. I had a headache and I just felt run down. And just to be cautious, I separated from my family, slept in a different part of the house. And throughout the night, I got fevers and sweats, and I knew what was going on. So I got up in the morning, got tested, and turns out I got COVID. So we immediately threw the kitchen sink at it. All kinds of meds, monoclonal antibodies, ivermectin, Z-Pak, prednisone, everything. And I also got an NAD drip and a vitamin drip, and I did that 3 days in a row. And so here we are on Wednesday, and I feel great. I really only had one bad day. Sunday sucked, but Monday was better. Tuesday felt better than Monday, and today I feel good. I actually feel pretty fucking good.
The news are running a different story on him, of course. They just chose to take the snippet where he talks about this horse medication, which, by the way, I don't know nothing about. I actually learned right now a little bit. I'm also curious how this came to be. And they're just going for the anti-vaxxer and horse medication guy now. So running some old clip of him talking about his concern about the vaccines, that also young people, if they have a good diet and exercise, they shouldn't be worried too much about it. Things for which he had received a backlash, and also later on he rectified his position by also reminding people that he's not a source of truth. You shouldn't listen to him. He has a podcast, he talks to guests, and you should use also your common sense to filter stuff out. So he has that position. But they're running this narrative of vilifying him now, which I find also extremely amusing. I don't know why he's targeted that way, because to me Joe Rogan seems like quite a liberal guy, and it seems that he's targeted the most from the sort of left, extreme left. But anyway, I don't want to make this a political case now. I removed myself from this duality of ideologies. I consider myself anarchist liberal, if there is such a thing, and also that we should look into newer solutions, newer ideas, ideals for newer problems to solve modern problems, instead of being enamored with the past, with older ideals, both cases, both whatever. But I'm fascinated about the fact of, people running this vilification kind of thing over a person that he wants to express some concerns. When it comes to concerns, I got my 2 shots of Pfizer. To say I wasn't concerned about it, it's a lie. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. I'm sure that a lot of people, in their house, they talk about stuff, you talk about to your partner, whatever, of your concern, of course. Even though it seems there is enough evidence so far that the benefits of getting a jab outweighs the risk of actually getting the virus, and with the potentiality that you getting the virus might develop on a higher chances of get a worsening of condition. So that was the reason also why I chose to get the vaccine. Because obviously I do trust in science, but to say that you're not supposed to be concerned, it's totally nuts. He has quite a good point when you talk about this is a crisis, and I'm sure the scientists, the experts are doing their best to put together a solution under so much pressure. But because of this pressure, because of the immediacy of this crisis, you can be concerned, of course, because you don't know if they're overlooking something. So at least you're concerned, I'm sure. And especially when information starts to come out officially that, 1 in 100,000 people getting the jab might develop this rare form of thrombosis for this vaccine. Actually, it was 1 in 300,000 or something. I think it was the Johnson. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just reporting what I remember reading. And other cases of vaccines, which 1 in 100,000 cases getting the jab, you might develop, I don't know, heart inflammation, which they have seen an incident in younger people developing that. And of course you're concerned, because even if those numbers are very rare, you go like, am I going to be the 1 in 100,000 that gets that? So the least you can do is be concerned. But again, that concern translates also if you get the virus. I think, if I'm not mistaken, and please correct me if I'm wrong, there must be some numbers out that if you get the virus, you probably, the chances of developing a worsening of condition are way higher than the 1 in 100,000 or the 1 in 300,000 cases which developed dangerous side effect, harmful side effect to the jab. So, and you also read that you have a higher chance of developing thrombosis by getting the virus in the first place. And again, those are the reasons that when you read into the science that is available right now, I chose to get the jab. And also because if you want to be free not to do it, you also have to behave accordingly, because your freedom ends where the freedom of another person begins. If you want to be reckless, not using a mask, just going around like nothing is happening, and you might be lucky that you are kind of asymptomatic, but you still carry and you spread it around, you might endanger other people. Even if there is just a small doubt, even if all of this is not clear, but there is a small doubt that you might be harmful with your behavior to another person, then you have to behave accordingly and isolate yourself, because otherwise your freedom is just ending where the other freedom of this other person. You're damaging the freedom of the other person. We work together, we are here together, we have to help each other. So that's the least you can do whenever you want to do whatever you want with your body. But again, I'm very curious about Joe. If I can offer one criticism about this, about Joe Rogan, is that I wonder why he waited this much than getting it instead of getting the jab. Because like I said, it seems there is enough evidence that the benefits, they outweigh the risks. Concern or not concern, of course, you're totally entitled to have concerns. When also a person over 50, if he gets it, you might get a worsening of condition. And it seems that Joe Rogan believes in science, because once he got sick, like using his own words, he threw the whole sink at it, including antibodies treatment, which it's a real treatment that I read they're giving to people to make sure that they don't end up in the ICU. So probably also this technique is going to be further developed and hopefully maybe available more readily to people. And he took other medication, including the medication that the news are running with to discredit him. So he trusts in science. And also I'm curious, also, you see how much disinformation there is about this vaccine? The people, even informed people, they choose to go for something that potentially maybe has some kind of effect that works, some medication, even medication that they are not meant for us, they're meant for a horse or for a cow. You're willing to take that because maybe it works to combat this thing. And then I'm like, how divided did we get that somehow there's not only, attached to this jab, there is so much more than just the science that comes with it. There's such an emotional baggage of people mistrusting their governments, people mistrusting the news outlets. And I'm sure the news are not doing a great job at spreading the right informations, for sure. So we could agree on that. But, I'm just puzzled how much confusion there is, how much mistrust there is about this jab, that people are willing to take experimental things, that can have potentially a side effect too on you, still medicine, everything can this probably a doctor can help me on this. Any kinds of medications can have an adverse effect on someone, in a larger scale, in a larger numbers. If you administer to so many people, somebody could have an allergic reaction. You don't know. So there is a chance for that as well. I don't know in which kind of numbers, but still, that chance is there. So I'm wondering, I'm actually curious, going back to Joe, now that, he took all those medications and he's doing well, I'm curious to listen what he has to say afterwards, if he would have gone for the jab and why. What was that prompted him to go this route, and even taking medications which they're for animals. And yeah, so there is that part of it that I'm kind of looking forward to hear a little bit, because it's obvious that he believes in science, because as you get sick, you immediately rely on medicines. Otherwise, you just should have just trusted that you're, okay, I'm not gonna take nothing. So you were concerned that things could get worse, and you used anything that could be used, to get better. So I'm looking forward to hear his position on that, just also to understand a little bit more. And it's really weird where we are now, that there's so much confusion, there's so much distrust, and I know that we will have a clearer picture. In a moment of crisis, people they're right to be concerned, but we also have to try to read to the available sources, scientific sources, peer-reviewed, published papers of everything that is available now to start with. We're gonna just use anecdotal things of bloggers and YouTubers or whatever. We just cannot do that. We have to start from the source. And I agree with you that the clearer picture will just unfold in a while. I don't know how long it will take. And I hope that they were right so far, the scientists, with everything they said. But yeah, let's hope that we don't have to get a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, and seventh jab or whatever, because I do have questions too, especially when you read about what is happening in Israel. And I'm just waiting for new data to come out, and also taking a little bit of rest from all the noise, because now every time one thing comes out, of course, there is an immediately magnification on that aspect that it might also distort the overall picture. So I'm also taking one moment, and let us settle a little bit with more information, that it's clear also how it works. And yes, I took my time too. I just took the first shot last month, and actually I took the second shot like 10 days ago. No. Yeah, the 25th of August. So it's like a week or so I took the second shot. I haven't had any adverse effect, or I didn't feel anything so far. So hopefully I'll be still here. And hopefully we will have a little bit more information that we can rely on to clarify certain things, also for people which have concerns, so that we can get out of this and stay healthy, stay positive. Don't do strange things with your body.